Yes, we are here at the home of the Lionesses in typical fashion. The English weather has followed the Lionesses here, so we're recording this undercover. Anton Toloui from Sky Sports News in the UK joins us. Anton, before we get into the nitty-gritty of Wednesday's game at Stadium Australia, just give us a flavour of what the sentiment is like back in the UK, and I guess is there a belief that's getting behind the Lionesses now the more they progress into this tournament?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the China game changed everything. I think England kind of crept into the tournament. There was a lot of expectation on them, but as soon as they put six past China, past the Asia Cup champions, there was suddenly a sense of belief around this team that wasn't necessarily there at the beginning. England kind of stumbled into this tournament as well, form-wise, so that awoke everybody. Then they showed the battle and the grit to get through Nigeria. Then they got through the fight to Colombia, so it all feels like it's building, and the not the expectation, but the hype around the team is back, I think.
They have, so far, Serena Wiegmann's team avoided any of the top 10 ranked nations in this tournament. We know the challenge they're going to face up against the Matildas. We'll come to that game in more detail in just a second. But the last time they played, England inflicted a defeat upon Serena Wiegmann, her first and only one in charge of England so far. Does that have any weight in terms of the thinking going into this game? Tamika Yallop, the Matildas midfielder, said they don't care about that. It's a friendly, it doesn't matter to them. Do you think Serena Wiegmann will be of the same opinion of that, or do you think she would have learned things from that game and from what she's seen in the Matildas in this tournament?
Chatting to Serena Wiegmann after that game, and it was a grim, horrible night in Brentford that day. It really was. In a way, I think Serena Wiegmann, not pleased with the result, but pleased that she saw what England were like in a defeat. They put that on themselves, the players. They looked at it and went, oh we didn't realise we could play that badly under a coach we trust, in a system that we all buy into. So I think they kind of felt a sense of football-based adversity they haven't really felt before. Something didn't click, and they didn't know how to figure it out on the pitch. I think that's the kind of wake-up call England are almost pleased they had coming into this tournament. And obviously, I think England felt so good whenever they played anyone. They'd really beaten the world's top three ranked teams before that. That they didn't underestimate Australia, but they were aware that they can be beaten by anyone on their day.
Keira Walsh has been someone that's been so pivotal to England. You know, there was the injury scare for her against Denmark earlier on in the tournament. She's come back. She's in fine form. And as are England going into this game against the Matildas at Stadium Australia on Wednesday, Anton, this is what Keira Walsh just had to say in the England press conference just now about the atmosphere they are expecting to come up against at Stadium Australia on Wednesday night.
Yeah, I think it was massive for us at the Euros, especially in the final. I think, when there's those moments where the opposition could potentially score, and it kind of shifts momentum. I think sometimes when you're playing, when you know the crowd's behind you, it gives you that extra push. But I think also when you're playing against it, I think when you can quieten the crowd, I think it's also a very nice feeling. And I think to maybe try and take the momentum out of the game for them is going to be important. So, yeah, there's positives and negatives to both, and I've experienced both. So, yeah, again, I think we experienced it against Colombia at the weekend. They were really loud. They had some amazing fans. So, yeah, I think we've experienced that this tournament now, and we're just looking forward to the game on Wednesday.
So there we go, Anton. Keira Walsh expecting, there's going to be 75,000 people in that stadium. They can deal with that. They can use it to their advantage. Just on her very quickly, she is so important to this side, isn't she? She touched on the press conference earlier about the importance of her getting used to and actually enjoying playing in this new back three system, playing in front of those players. If there's going to be a key for England, is it going to be Keira Walsh in this game?
Everything goes through Keira Walsh. She's the conductor. She's the world's most expensive player for a reason. There are a few players on the planet that can do what Keira Walsh can do, and she's so important defensively as well as offensively for this England team that when you take it out, England don't really know what to do in terms of how to go through the gears quickly. But she's so good at slowing the game down as well. Interesting, she mentioned that a few minutes ago. England played smart, especially in that second half against Colombia. They quite like being the spoiler, even though Keira wouldn't bite there. She wouldn't sort of buy into the rivalry. But the England players are looking forward to sort of quietening the crowd is the euphemism they're using. Basically, they don't mind being the bad guy. They're quite up for being the bad guy at this. So yeah, I think Keira Walsh very much kind of like is the player that can do that individually by taking the ball and not giving it back to Australia.
Finally, let's talk about the game because, England, naturally, you looked at some stats today. Opta have said that England are the favourites statistically to win this tournament now. Australia are third on that list behind Spain and Sweden fourth. Do you make England favourites going into this game, Anton, or do you think because of that, the groundswell of support that the Matildas have got behind them now, record TV audiences, a nation that is obsessed with this football team at the moment, do you make the Matildas favourites or England?
I still think England are favourites because they've got that big game experience. And as Kira Walsh was just saying, this is a team with, you know, Sam Coe, who's done so much in NWSL and at Chelsea, and Ellie Carpenter, who basically won the Champions League with one leg. You know, they've got experience in this team, and we saw, again, more grit, more determination in that bonkers game in Brisbane the other night. But big game experience does matter, and I think, for me, that's what gives England the slight edge. But England know what it's like to play with the momentum, with a country behind them, and what intangible that gives you going into this game. It's almost a coin flip, isn't it?
Yeah, really is. Well, it all remains to be seen what happens on Wednesday night at Stadium Australia. The Keep Up team will be there live for Dub at the Cup afterwards.